Hi, this is MD Shabana Sultana, working as Associate Professor in the Chebrol Engineering College, Chebrol. Today, I want to discuss about the recycling of e-waste. What is e-waste? The emergence of the digital age has produced a unique problem of electronic waste. Electronic devices are constantly upgraded with the latest technology, resulting lots of e-waste, which includes cell phones, computers, televisions, stereos, and printers. As the electronic devices fails to respond to power, break, or simply outdated, do not last long, creating a lot of waste. That means the plastic constitute a significant part of e-waste, account for up to 20% of it. The recycling of e-waste is more difficult compared to plastic from other sources due to the presence of brominated flame retardants. The present technologies of the e-waste, the recycling contains the following steps. They are primary and secondary recycling, tertiary recycling, and quaternary recycling. Currently, many electronic companies are trying to the amount of waste by extraction of precious metals within which are repurposed for other uses. The recycling rely mainly on the extraction of precious metal present inside safely and efficiently. Modern methods include recycling of electronic waste, environmentally friendly, without exposing the workers to the toxic chemicals. Coming to the first step, that is the primary and secondary recycling. Mechanical recycling is the most widely employed form of plastic recycling. That means the plastic which is which was thrown out, it is to be subjected to mechanical recycling. The technologies are composed or of mainly three stages: size reduction, sorting and cleaning, melt processing. Melt processing means there is a molding, especially extrusion or injection molding. That means sending the electronic devices to the processing plant where they can be safely dismantled. Plastic housings are removed and discarded. The internal components are then separated by further processing. Electronic waste or its components are first shredded, granulated, and then subjected to sorting by manual sorting, eddy current separator, magnetic separator, optical sortex for plastics. After that, the plastics are then subjected to melt the processing technique such as extrusion and injection molding depending on the desired product. Optical separators capable of separating the plastic based on the color and type are also developed. After that, the material are then pulverized into granular material and metal components are easily extracted with the help of the magnet. The non-ferrous metals remains in the material. The major drawback is the limitation on the number of times a thermoplastic recycling. After a certain number of cycles, the polymer chain will start degrading and can't be processed. This leads to landfilling of plastics. Coming to the next technique, that is tertiary recycling. Tertiary recycling involves Kriya-solve process, that is extraction of brominated flame retardants from the e-waste plastic using chemicals or solvent treatment, followed by precipitation of the polymer from the solution. The precipitated brominated flame retardant free polymer are then processed further by extrusion process. Tertiary process also involves primary or secondary processing after the chemical treatment. Whatever the more modified Kriya-solve process enables recycling of polymer metal composites. What are the composites which are obtained by this process is polybutylene, terete halate, and copper. It is used for recycling of printed circuit boards. Kriya-solve process is the most promising technology in this category. Coming to the quaternary recycling, the final process of the extraction of the precious metal is by making use of acid baths of acids where different metals dissolve at various degrees depending on the strength of the acid. From the metallic solution, metals can be precipitated out and acid can be reused. The presence of brominated fluororetardants has limited the application of well-established waste to energy technologies such as pyrolysis, gasification, and plasma arc in case of e-waste plastic. Hazardous compounds such as dioxins are produced in this process. A low temperature catalytic depolymerization technology, all types of plastics can be converted into diesel fuel for energy without the formation of dioxins. Haloclean technology means heating of biomass to produce energy, which is used for cogeneration. It is two-stage process. In the first stage, debromination of the polymeric waste occurs. In the second stage, clean the fuel or the oil which are produced. But this is not possible to convert into commercial or industrial scale process. Finally, as e-waste is toxic, it should not be disposed in the dumping yards, and the care must be taken to make reach to the recycling units. Every year, electronic devices produce 40 million tons of electronic waste, of which only 13% of the e-waste is currently recycled. Unethical methods of extraction includes burning, which leads to the pulmonary and cardiovascular diseases to the workers. So the recycling should be done for the plastic material by any of these methods, and it should not be disposed to the dumping yards. Otherwise, it will lead to the damage for the lungs and the heart of the human beings. So that is about the recycling of e-waste. Next topic is biopolymers. Biopolymers are polymers produced by living organisms. So the biopolymers are natural polymers produced by the cells of living organisms. The name itself, bio, means living thing. That means the polymers which are produced from living organisms so that it can be easily degraded. The biopolymers consist of monomeric units that are covalently bonded to form a large molecule. And these are regarded as the most biodegradable chemical compound in the atmosphere. So, these biopolymers are the polymers produced by the living organisms, and they are polymeric biomolecules, and it contains the monomeric unit that are covalently bonded to form a large structure. The synthetic polymers, biopolymers, have uniformly distributed a set of molecular masses and appear as a long chain of structure or curled up strings, ball-like structures under the microscope. So there are mainly three classes of biopolymers which are classified according to the monomeric unit used and the structure of the biopolymer formed. First one is polynucleotide. This polynucleotide contains RNA and DNA. RNA means ribonucleic acid. DNA means deoxyribonucleic acid, which are the long polymers composed of 13 or more nucleotide monomers. And next, coming to the second type, which is known as polypeptides. These are the short polymers of amino acids. Peptide means it is a composition of the amino acid. Next one is a polysaccharides. Polysaccharides means it is a carbohydrate components, which is a linearly bonded polymeric carbohydrate structure. This polypeptide and proteins are the polymers of amino acids, and the example for this is collagen, actin, and fibrin. Coming to the polysaccharides, the example for this polysaccharides, I already told you that it is a carbohydrate structure. That means the example is a starch, cellulose, alginate that can be obtained from the wheat, tapioca, maize, and potatoes. The polymer materials are stored in the tissues of the plants in the form of carbohydrates like glucose, starch, etc., which is not present in the animal tissues. They will not present in the animal tissues, it is present only in the plant tissues. See, cellulose is the most common organic compound and biopolymer on the earth. About 33% of all the plant matter is cellulose. The cellulose content of cotton is 90%. For wood, it is only 50%. Biopolymers are also called as renewable polymers. That means there are two types of biopolymers. One is obtained from the living organism, as I already told you. That is polynucleotide, polypeptide, and polysaccharides. And other is produced from the renewable sources. That means the biopolymer plays an important role in the nature by performing extremely useful functions like storage of energy, preservation, and transmittance of genetic information and cellular construction. So biopolymers are biodegradable and some are also compostable, and it can be sustainable, carbon neutral, and always renewable because they are made from the plant material which can grow indefinitely. Cellulose-based biopolymers such as the cellophane are used as a packing material, thin wrapping films, food trays, pallets for sending fragile goods for shipping. Other examples of the biopolymers include the natural rubber, melanin, and lignin. They are produced from biomass for use in the packing industry. Next, coming to the biomedical polymer. Biomedical polymer, it is the most important material used in the medical device industry. So this biomedical polymer are biomaterial which are mainly adapted for medical applications, either for therapeutic means treatment or repair or replace a tissue function of a body, or it is also used for the diagnostic. As a science, so the biomedical materials are 50 years old. Biomedical materials are different from biological material such as bones, etc., which are produced by biological system. Biomaterial used for the medical purpose must be compatible with the body. That means whatever the material which are used in the medical purpose, it should be compatible. It should be mingled with the body. The compatibility is resolved before the product is introduced into the body. The biomedical polymers are used as a medical disposable supplies, prosthetic materials, dental materials, implants, dressing purpose, polymeric drug delivery, tissue engineering products. The development of novel materials such as biocompatible polymers for use in medical implant. The best example for the biomedical polymers is polyethylene glycol. The first example, the polymer which is used as a biomedical polymer. It is one of the most commonly used synthetic polymer for biomaterial. Next one is a polyglycolic acid. Which is also known as PGA. It is a biomedical polymer and is used for making the sutures and for the bone pin applications because it contains an aliphatic ester bond and it can be used as a degradable polymer. Next one is biolactic acid. Biolactic acid or polylactic acid, it has also been used to fabricate the high strength fibers and medical implants for ligament replacement and scaffold for tissue engineering. These are all this polylactic acid, it is having a many racemic mixtures. And the next one is polyhydroxyalkanoates, polypropylene formamates. These are also used as a biomedical polymers. Chitosan, which is having the cationic polysaccharide, it has been most widely used as a wound dressing due to its oxygen permeable, bioactive, water absorptive, and hemostatic nature. Chitosan composite scaffolds have been used to engineer the bone, tendon, ligament, cartilage, nerve, skin, and vascular tissues. So, there are many biopolymers which are used for the medical purposes are biocarbonates, polyurethanes, polyphosphazines, polyphosphoesters. The meshes and the heart walls are made from the mesh of woven fabrics of Dacron coated with pyrolytic carbon. The mesh allows the body tissue to grow while incorporating the valve. For skin repair, usually the patient won't cell grow, but when the damage is done to extreme level, scaffold a copolymer of lactic acid and glycolic acid, which is strong and biodegradable, is used. So these are some of the biomedical polymers. Thank you.